Hi everyone, and welcome to the next installment in my Transits 2018 video series. Today I'm going to be speaking about the incredible Venus retrograde that we're going to be having from October 5th of 2018 to November 16th of 2018. It's a very defining time, and I hope to really get into some of the subtleties that this transit represents for us, because I truly feel it to be a subtle and changing, defining energy. But before I get too far into it, I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Keen.com for sponsoring this video. Keen is a website that pairs you with a psychic to help provide guidance and clarity in love, relationships, career, and more. It's a super affordable way to get an instant reading right from your home through email, chat, or phone, and by using my link, you can get started on Keen with a consultation for less than $2. Yes, the first 10 minutes of your consult is only $1.99 by using my link, which is listed on screen now as well as in the description box below. Much thanks to Keen for sponsoring this video. Okay, so without further ado, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the particulars and channeling of the beautiful and shining Venus retrograde in Scorpio. And the first thing that's really coming into my mind is, what do you lack? It's a good question to be asking yourself as you're moving into this energy, because this is a very energizing, potent transit that can really fuel you to step into a mode where you're, getting what you want. Like, what do I want out of life? What do I not have? And what do I need to achieve? This is a very ambitious energy and also a very unyielding energy for some people, as I do feel that if you've been unyielding in a certain way, or if you've not paid close attention to boundaries or personal limitations, you can even see that someone who is quite unyielding comes into your own life. This is a time where you meet new people. I will say that, which is interesting because Scorpio is more reserved and pulled back and tends to be a more personalized energy that doesn't so much have to do with other people, but I feel really strongly that with some of the other energies that are present right now, especially due to Venus going into opposition with Uranus, actually on Halloween on October 31st, I truly feel that like sudden new connections can be brought into your life. Sudden new correlations, affiliations, duties to certain people or certain entities in your life can really suddenly add up and be all around you. So in some cases, this can be really wonderful. It's like if you're trying to make new business connections, or if you're trying to up your productivity, all of a sudden you can find yourself having new connections, new possibilities that actually feel really powerful and actually open a lot of doors for you to achieve things that you've never achieved before. Do make sure that you vet these people or these companies or these experiences, because it's possible that underhanded things can happen, but at the same time, if it does happen, if someone is underhanded to you, it comes back on them very quickly, and I do sense that you can rise above that. So it's not very permanent, but it can cause like a short-term damage or a short-term problem. So watch out for tactics, watch out for people who want to give you something for not much effort or much work. Just making sure that you're not being taken advantage of, because it comes back on the people who take advantage, but it can be difficult in the time being. But yeah, it's kind of an impermanent energy that I'm feeling basically with this too. It's almost like your life can change really suddenly with the Venus in Scorpio, because we also have like the Jupiter in Scorpio there. It's not going to conjoin Jupiter. It's not going to get that far before it goes retrograde and, kind of zooms back into Libra and then comes back into Scorpio as it moves direct. But you have to remember that the Scorpio energy right now is very Jupiterian. It's been affected by Jupiter for nearly a year now. So Scorpio energy is very expansive. It's very high up. It's at an apex energetically. So when you introduce Venus into that, it really does make people, especially with like Scorpio in their chart, or with aspects that make a strong configuration to either Jupiter or Venus, it does make them look the part. It makes them seem like powerful. It makes them seem strong, and it makes them have an aspect of good luck and benevolence, but it can be quite volatile as well. You could see people either all of a sudden making a new type of success for themselves, all of a sudden really having like that wonderful, healthy relationship. But then after this transit's over, by about December especially, you might see a sudden 180 or a sudden like huge change in their life come up, because what gets propped up and what is made to look the part with this energy of the Venus retrograde through October and mid-November, it's not always something that's real. And even if it's not real, it's not always something that's sustainable. So I definitely want you to come into this transit. As I am posting this video a little bit early, I'm not sure when you're watching it, but I wanted to post it early because I think that it requires a bit of planning. So if you're watching this in September or early October before it goes into effect, do strategize and plan about what is important to you, what aspects of yourself you want to see thrive, and, really just think about, what do I want? What am I lacking? What do I need? And after you've sort of noted that out or seen what that is, go back through that with a fine-tooth comb and think, is this real? Is this something that's sustainable? Is this something that actually brings me happiness, or is it something that just sort of prolongs a cycle of ambition or having to prove something to myself? Are you going to be happy after you achieve what you're setting out for during this time? Because it's very ambitious energy. And you might not feel that ambition till about the time that the sun goes into Scorpio, which will be later on in October. So you might even see that you have some type of experience or some type of circumstance come up, starting in early or mid-October. And based on what happens there, you can become very motivated. So I sense that some people could be taken advantage of, or some people could see something difficult happen to a loved one, and through that experience want to solve that problem for humanity. Like, for example, a loved one has a terrible illness, so now you're motivated to solve the riddle of that illness type of thing, and that's just a general example. But you can really find that you are perhaps loyal to a fault, or you really want to help people in ways that are difficult. That could be an effect of this transit for sure. And it's also nice to be a bit charitable with this transit, because especially people who are strongly affected by it, you can see that you get a lot. You can see that you get a huge bonus or a promotion, or money could sort of grow on trees temporarily, even for this energy, because Scorpio in and of itself, it is a money sign, but it's more of a energy sign. So money can be an energy source. Money can fuel a lot of things in life, so it can definitely become money for certain people. And it's really wonderful to give back, because you will see it prolong itself through doing that. But it's about getting creative with how you're giving back as well. So not necessarily about throwing money at a charity, although that could work for some of you. It's really going to be about maybe giving a closure to someone from your past. I can sense closure as a big, strong concept for this transit for sure, because we do have Neptune in Pisces, and they're not going to make an exact trine, but Venus is, again, opposing Uranus, and it's sort of an out-of-orbit trine happening with Neptune in Pisces. And with that Pisces energy and that Taurus energy, it says to me that there could be a strong desire for closure. You might be tempted to show what you've learned to people from your past. The past can come up here, although it's not going to be what you expected it to be. It's not going to be very gentle. It can be a potent connection to the past. It can be a potent, new type of, I want to say redrawing of the past, or rewriting of your history. Redoing and transforming your narrative. You might come to new conclusions. Big light bulb moment here for sure for a lot of you. Make sure that you're ready for that and you're not forcing that from yourself. It's intricate. An intricate redoing of the narrative that's presented does come up undoubtedly for everybody, especially people who have things in Scorpio or have something in this orb, okay? Which does say to me that you've learned something. It says to me that there's been a sudden epiphany or realization about who you once were. You might even learn that someone that you really cared about did something not so nice to you. This is the type of transit where you can learn that 2 years ago you were cheated on and you never even knew it until now. That can happen. Likewise, you can also learn that 2 years ago you were actually doing really bad things for your health and you didn't realize it, and now your health pays the price with some type of illness. That can happen here as well. And health is another emphasis with this transit, undoubtedly. And I feel that everyone, even super healthy people, need to pay close attention to the actions surrounding their body and their body of health, even if it's just emotional health, because everything packs a punch. Everything's going to be potent. So if you're putting things into your body which are really bad for it, that could be intensified during this time. Likewise, small efforts can be intensified as well. So through supplementing yourself in some type of way, it can be extra potent, which can also be a difficult thing. So watch out for really potent diets or really potent supplements. They can be even more potent right now because of this energy. So you don't want to overdo health either. You don't want to take too much medicine. You don't want to take too much potent things in your body because it can cause a healing crisis. As it is kind of like a viral or bacterial transit as well. Make sure that you're like washing your hands. Make sure, because we're like getting into flu season here as well. There could be some like illnesses that crop up during this time as well. Even like STDs could become more rampant as well. They could like discover new ones, or there could be new outbreaks because Scorpio does rule that type of thing. And Venus retrograde especially can make the atmosphere more conducive to contracting something of that nature. So not a great time for promiscuity, not a great time for being with many people, even energetically as well. It's not even a matter of just physically being with someone. Watch out for toxic people during this time. People can be extra toxic because everyone is going to see something that is problematic in their lives become much more concentrated and intensified. So this means that people that you're like dealing with in work or in like family, anything that's already a problem will feel intensified. So if you kind of have a disconnect with someone, or if you like have a clashing personality with someone that you have to interact with a lot, you're going to see that much more clearly. And due to perhaps both of you like having problems being more emphasized, it's going to make like personality conflicts much more clear, which in one hand can truly help to heal the situation. It can truly help to heal both people, and if they can like come together and like make a dialogue about it and see themselves better. But it can also just make for a lot of chaos and a lot of like desire for catharsis as well, because Scorpio rules catharsis and the whole concept of catharsis. So you could see that people want to see you fail, or you could even see that you want to see other people fail. Really watch out for, like, for example, like in your job or someone is kind of toxic to you or says something that's a little bit mean, and you sort of like for the next few weeks hope to see like unfortunate things happening to them, or you're like, well, wouldn't it be nice if there was an issue with their payment, or if they got a pink slip, or if they got something, like you kind of sit at your desk all day kind of wanting to see something bad happen to someone, and you like don't even realize that you're thinking that. It's not really something that's like right up in the front of your head and you realize that you're thinking about it, but it kind of like slowly drives you mad because it's like there in your mind, like wanting to see difficult things happen to other people. A good time to heal from that, and a good time to see others as a part of yourself, like, do I really want to see something bad happening to myself? Does this feed into like my own desires for self-sabotage, or, wanting to have a cathartic experience with myself as the victim? Because you can see, especially like for the water signs, I want to say, and some of the earth signs, it would be easy to see really clearly right now that difficulties in your relationships or in your work stems from a need to have that difficulty, or stems from a fear of being bored, or stems from a fear of like not having it anymore, because you might feel like you really want peace, or you might feel like you really want to rise above certain situations. But you can also start to see that when things are difficult like this, you're there for yourself, and you start to implement those self-loving tactics that you have, and those self-loving tools that you have, mostly only when something bad is happening. So you start to need bad things to happen so that you give yourself the love that you deserve. Finding more consistent and well-defined systems of self-love is one of the high points of this transit, because it will really show you where the like consistency is there, like how you can implement something like that without needing something that's really flashy or really difficult or painful to love yourself, Another really positive aspect of this transit is mitigation. I really feel that, especially once it gets direct, like after November 16th, but really during the whole time of this Venus transit, it will help to mitigate some of the ill effects or expansion of poisonous aspects of your life that you might have experienced from Jupiter. Jupiter and Venus love to be in similar territory, and they're not quite conjunct yet. Later in November, they will come closer and finally go into their exact conjunction, I believe. But just having them near each other really creates opportunities for good luck, opportunities for benevolence, and beauty in your life, and things which really please your senses, which is why the like first goal of this transit, especially in like early October, mid-October, is to understand why you might be wanting difficult things in life, or why you might be wanting pain, because pain with Jupiter and Scorpio, or toxic relationships, or people who don't treat you the way that you deserve, can become indulgent, or cathartic at least, with this energy. So it's really good to see that within yourself. It's not even always about implementing something to solve it, but it's about seeing it, because what this transit does not support very well is delusion. And not everybody is struggling with this. Not everybody is struggling with needing to see pain in their lives, but it is quite rampant. I've got to be honest. Like, I would say a good 40% of the population really struggles with this right now, which is a huge number when we're talking this type of illusionary experience. So definitely look within and analyze some of the aspects of your life and think, is this a need for me to see a difficult circumstance within myself? Is this job part of me struggling? Is this relationship in my life for the purpose of me questioning myself or determining what it is that I actually need? And that's not so bad. Sometimes you need to see a worst case scenario to know what you don't need. But by this point in time, it should be clear, like, the lessons of the difficult relationship or the takeaway from the toxic experience. And it feels like that to continue it at this point in time is like a self-sabotage if you're there, if you're in that codependent structure, if you're struggling with a narcissistic person, etc. By now, by mid-October, you should have learned everything that you needed, and there's going to be like a testing point. Like, will you stay? Will you walk away? What changes do you need to make? Because ultimately, as we all know, Scorpio is such a transformative, changing energy, and it gives you every opportunity that you need to stop something, to close something out, and to make a change. So why is it that we see so many people trying to hold on or cling during Scorpio time? Because there can be a tendency to see how much we've grown and see how much transformation has come on account of the difficult experience, and to correlate that with something that's sort of unconditionally positive, and to think, okay, by having more toxic situations, I'll keep growing. Associating our growth with pain, associating our growth with perilous experiences of life. That's got to heal now, and we've got to see, okay, I can have something easy, I can have something beneficial. And another sort of like fascinating aspect of this energy is, as you're going through it, you're going to feel perhaps quite infallible or quite powerful or just like really strong in your disposition. You might even see that you could do any number of things that might go against your virtue or moral as a person and not feel any type of regrets or bad feelings towards what you've done, even if it's something that's like not in alignment with who you are, because you can see that this transit creates a bit of sociopathic nature in certain individuals, and you may only really regret what happens after the fact or looking back in the past from the future of this situation. So really establishing what your values are, what your morals are as a person in relation to the difficult circumstances of your life beforehand will give you so much with this transit, and sticking to that, being accountable for yourself. Not about being accountable to other people, that's important, but you will never be accountable to other people if you aren't accountable to yourself. So where do your accountabilities lie? Where are the debts? Debt can be very influential during this type of transit, even if it's not financial debt. Like, who do you owe an apology? Who do you owe a hug? Who owes these things to you? It's important to get good on debts or make plans to settle debts, because more can stack up very easily if there's a tendency to like take on debt and not need to be bothered by it anymore. And that ultimately deals with the ego under this type of transit, which does not allow anything to be forbidden or does not allow themselves to miss out on anything. So you could see something is like really expensive and you wouldn't usually buy it, but because it's something that you wouldn't usually buy, you have to have it. And it's not really about the object, it's about the forbidden nature of the object. So this transit definitely pulls to light some ideals of like forbidden fruit and needing to have things which are frowned upon or taboo. That will pass really easily. Watch out for like taboos in general, and especially if they relate to money or intimate experiences, because it's easy to find regrets in this period of time and easy to really start new cycles of self-sabotage if you're really letting the ego or things which are forbidden rule your motivations in life. You see people starting really torrid love affairs with this energy. You see people getting involved with nocturnal systems of money generation that are not ever conceding to their actual desires in life. It's really easy to see those things stack up, but also really easy to see the rising above of that, as you should, like going straight into this transit. And I feel this to be the most important moral of this video. You're going to see very clearly what the problem is. You're going to see very clearly what goes against you, but the test comes when you know that it's against you, or you know that it's not right for you, and being able to turn the other way, or being able to live up to your higher self, being able to do what you know is right for you, because this may be that period of time that I've been talking about, throughout all of 2018, where something that was an addiction or something that has been present in your life for a long time, which is really hindering you, can easily fall away. That's the beautiful thing about this Jupiter and Scorpio energy. I will put that video in the top right-hand corner if you would like to see Jupiter and Scorpio. That's been something present for this entire year, and that definitely gets intensified as Venus goes retrograde in Scorpio as well. As we were talking about with Jupiter and Scorpio, to get back on my point, it's very easy for endings to happen. It's very easy to quit something. It has a lot to do with addictions. It has a lot to do with like subtle addictions. Like, we're not just talking like what might be an obvious addiction in life, but we're talking about like, someone who is addicted to something on account of needing to feel pain. It's not about the substance. It's not about the action. It's about the pain underneath it. It's about getting down to those layers and seeing what any type of addiction in your life represents for you, and how those habitual actions wrap around that and enforce that. What is enforcing an addictive habit or pattern in your life? What is fortifying the foundations of self-sabotage or cycles of self-harm into your life? Those things can so easily fall off with this transit because, relationships can end really easily. Things that you've wanted can fall through really easily. But the beauty of that energy is that also things which have been a huge problem, disease, addiction, fear, can also fall off really easily here. And it's up to you at the individual level to choose and lay out what you're ready to get behind, what you're ready to see come through on your life, what you're ready to fall out, like what you're ready to have fall out in your life, and really acknowledge deeply what or who has held you back, and what within may have deeply needed that as a cycle for healing, or as a catalyst for gaining your strength once more. Such a beautiful, wonderful, and benevolent energy for realizing what no longer works, for accepting what no longer works, for strategizing about how to manifest a new avenue, a new journey, a new path into something that does work. Don't get caught up in, oh my God, I've lost this. I'm lacking this. I'm in a situation that doesn't work because of something inherently wrong with me. Don't get caught up in lack. Be joyous for that being clear, okay? Sometimes lack or loss being clarified and being out in the open in your life is such a blessing, because for it to be hidden, or for it to be masking itself as something it's not, like you lose a relationship and you think, okay, that's the best thing that's ever been in my life. I have to have it. I'm nothing without that relationship. Sometimes that is so much more damaging to the person, so much more damaging to the individual than the clear realization that it's just lack or loss in the first place, okay? It's much worse for something toxic or potent in your life to be dressed up as something good or something positive and make you feel comfortable in that instant moment. That's much more damaging and much more toxic to the entirety of your energy than feeling true heartbreak or feeling true loss or true degeneration of some kind, because now you can face it, now you can heal it, and now you can really see the beauty on the horizon that represents this transit and energy. So much coming in, so much possibilities again for endings. We're having, like, Venus will be opposite Uranus on Halloween, and there will be a grand cross on that time. I will make a separate video about that most likely later on. And keep your eyes out for Venus in the sky. It's going to be huge and beautiful, especially from November 10th to November 22nd. It's going to be the morning star. Actually, starting on the 31st of October, it will become the morning star, but it will become brightest from November 10th to November 22nd, and for a bit of time after that, and it will be absolutely beautiful, huge, stunning, glorious in the morning sky on the horizon. It will also conjunct Spica, the fixed star. So there's going to be just some beautiful things to be looking at for those of you like driving to work early in the morning. So, you're struggling to get up early in the morning, but, be excited to see Venus. Whenever you can see Venus in the sky, whenever it's huge, good luck is bestowed upon you. To see Venus, to see the shining beauty and benevolence of that brightest entity in our sky is always reinforcing of your protective energy. And, look to Venus. Look to Venus when there's something painful going on in your life, and you will see a gem within that. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. I hope that the channeling was helpful in understanding some of the subtle energies that are coming in. Again, a huge thanks to Keen.com for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out my link below to get a consultation there if you would like to, and comment below if you would like Keen to sponsor more videos, or if you've had services from Keen before and have enjoyed them, because, these types of sponsorships mean a lot more content and a lot more time for channeling and seeing these energies. So anyway, everyone, much love. Your subscribes, likes, and comments make my day, are super helpful for me. Check the description box below. There are helpful links there. I'm on social media. I'm on Patreon. And yeah, much love and light. Light of Venus, it's coming in. It's strong. It's powerful. And good luck during this retrograde of Venus in Scorpio. Talk soon. Bye.